Friends, welcome to another episode of Auto Afflicted. I'm your host, Ollie Goulet, out here in the fall weather. Probably the last nice day in Salt Lake City. This is part 3 of the turbo install on the Benz M103 engine. Today we're going to pull off the manifold, going to put on the new manifold, the turbo, get the downpipe going, get it all plumbed up for oil, hopefully even get it started today. So let's get into it. Right, so part 3 of the turbo install. Part 1, linked in the description here, actually details all the parts that I bought and has links to all of those parts so you can get them yourself. Part 2 is the intercooler install. We put it in the bumper here. That is also linked in the description so you can check that out. And now it's time to get my hands dirty. So we got the fun parts. This is cast turbo manifold from the Kangaroos team. It's pretty burly. It's rated up to 500 horsepower. We don't need anything quite that large, that much power. And then this max speeding T3, T4 turbo, way overkill. We're only going to be pushing about 8 PSI in this car, but this thing probably would push 25, blow it right up. Anyway, this is all part of that eBay turbo kit that I bought that's linked in the description. And we're going to get this stuff on and start having some fun. The great thing about these M103 engines and how they sit in the engine bay is you just got tons of space over here. It's like it's basically meant for turbocharging. And in the 80s, when these cars came out, there was a Mauselman turbo kit that came directly from Mercedes, and it was essentially the same thing. So bolt-on, low pressure turbo, and they did have the intercooler sitting over here, I believe. So it was all kind of well contained, and these were installed by Mercedes dealerships. As you can see, the rust life is real in here. So we got a little PB blaster soaking on these studs for the manifold. Let these soak while I was shooting my video intro. You want to definitely let them soak in good 20 minutes or so before you get to wrenching. So let's get it on. So doing the PB blaster and waiting for it is definitely worthwhile. I didn't even check these to see if they were going to come loose before that, but they just look so rusty. But anyway, they came loose really easy. It just won't go through?
I can literally, it's like a nut hair hanging on. Oh, it's fighting me.
Nice.
Lengthy.
Seems that the weld quality on this was pretty sweet. Nothing but doo-doo welds and some leftover wire. Good stuff. Alex just can't resist turning some wrenches, or electric wrenches.
Gotta hop in there.
Easy hand turn, pull out. We got the snip on it.
She's out.
Do a little cleanup. Nothing too advanced, just a little brake cleaner on it. Oil return is going down here off the oil pan, and as you can see, there's kind of these 3 raised spots, these ribs, and I've cleaned out this spot. I'm gonna go right there and tap in the bung, and that'll be the oil return right there. So I think I got my head right for drilling a hole into my oil pan. It should be fine. So just gonna eyeball this upside down with enough room for clearance for the drill bit and all that, not too low. Just run the Sharpie in there, make a little mark. Ooh, there we go. A little tap so I can put a nice spot to start my drilling. I'm just hitting it in this awkward way. Sheesh. I advise to give it one good whack and not try to hit it twice, at least consecutively. One good whack usually leaves a mark, and then I should be able to start drilling off of that. An awkward start here, but we're just gonna hope that not too much of the shrapnel gets in the pan. Kind of take it slow, but we're also gonna drain the pan, obviously. Oh,
There it is.
we got seepage though.
a little bit of seepage.
I wasn't expecting that. We got some sort of catch for that.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
Now we're on to the Christmas tree bit, the step bit. So as you can see, oil's coming out. That's not because I'm stupid. I had this brilliant idea that what I was going to do was let the oil drip out, so it's going to take some of the shrapnel out, and then also we're using it as a lubricant for our cutting. Oh, guess what?
Too big?
No, this MPT feels like it's going to be perfect because it's got that little bit of a taper to it. So it starts out, but it only gets about halfway, so I think it's going to go.
Sick.
We got some sealant we can put on it.
Yeah. You're just gonna thread it like that?
Thread it like this and then thread it like that. I'm just going to run it raw.
Cool.
And just let it do its thing, I guess. I don't know.
Let it drip, dude.
Cram it in there.
Yeah. Alright. Boom.
So as you can see, nice clean cut. We're going to throw a quick tap on that, run some threads, and then some sealer on the bung, and it's going to be good. Easy. Just right there, as you can see on the oil pan. Super simple, nothing to be afraid of. Just grab your drill and go to it. But, you know, take your time. Making good use out of the Jenny. Alex putting a little elbow grease, little weight behind the fittings. Dunzo. Bung went in easy, no problem. Gasket maker on there, keep it nice and sealed. There's no pressure involved. It's just a drip return, so it's not a huge deal to cut the threads. If you want to, don't cut the threads. You just want to make sure that you're getting good contact, you know, self-tapping, bung, or whatever. The oil feed line connected, little bit of gasket maker in the contact, of course, and there you go. Now we're ready to test fit the manifold, turbo, and all that, and then we can have our drain line. Easy. Top side on the engine here, just kind of mocking up the turbo manifold fitment. And as you can see, the oil line will come up to here for the return of the oil. It does have to be trimmed. That line's going to need to be trimmed, and this is actually where the oil is coming out for the turbo, I believe. So we still have to clock the turbo, which is to rotate these different pieces so that the oil feed is on top and the return is on the bottom. If you can have those straight up and down, ideally that would be best. So you just have to loosen these and loosen these, and then you can rotate the housings to clock it, so to speak. All right, so now the turbo here is clocked. We got the oil feed at the top and the drain is down at the bottom. You can't see that. this is nice and horizontal basically, so that's where I wanted it to be. So now I can go ahead and tighten these back up and start bolting the rest of this together. This is the wastegate actually, so wastegate is on the underside of the manifold, and so I wanted to bolt that up for easy access while I had it, and then I'm going to bolt the turbo up, and then that'll all go into the engine bay, and that way I don't have to like reach around a bunch of crazy stuff. So always, in my opinion, assemble your turbo wastegate setup and then put it all on as a manifold setup if you can. Here I have some bolts prepped up. Oil return line is ready to go on, and I'm going to put the oil return line on first because that's at the bottom, of course, and then I can put the feed line on once it's all mounted in place. All right, so I've got the turbo oil drain fitment all installed. Now this is ready to go. I can finish bolting this up to the manifold after I pick up my bolts off the ground, and then see how that looks inside the engine bay over there. Here it is all together, the wastegate, turbo, the turbo drain outlet, all that's ready to go into the car. Just got to prep the exhaust port side of the head and make sure we got the studs ready and all of that good stuff. Obviously our oil drain from the turbo has to be trimmed a bit, so we're just kind of taking a look at that. And down in here is like the end of the oil return and the fitting, so we're just gonna lop that off, put a new fitting on it, and there you go. Next steps. Realistically, this is end of day one. Turbo, manifold, drain line, all that stuff's installed. We've got the manifold tightening up here with the gaskets installed, of course, you know, anti-seize, all the good stuff. You want to put all your stuff together the right way. And so startup is not going to happen today, but it doesn't seem too far around the corner at this point. We just need to plumb intercooler. We're going to drain the oil still to get the rest of the shrapnel out of the pan. Run oil inlet and all that stuff, the sandwich to get the oil coming in from the oil filter, which is underneath this thing. This thing's going away, as you've seen in video 1 and 2. All right, so here we are in the next morning. As you can see, the weather has turned and it's like a race against time. I was hoping to start this a day earlier because the weather was a bit better, but we got to keep pushing forward. So I got about this much room that I can get into my buddy's garage, and we're just going to get into it. I'm going to pull off the air box here and install the oil feed line and maybe get into plumbing some of the turbo. We'll see how far we can get in the next little bit here. So we got the air filter off. The next move here is to remove the oil filter, and then we're going to put in place this Masimoto sandwich. So this is the oil feed. You've got 3 options for oil feed, and this essentially goes on top of the oil filter housing, and then this would screw on to hold that in place, and then you just screw on your oil filter, right, because that's the adapter there. So all this will be basically like this down in here, maybe running it that way, and then the oil feed for the turbo will come up that way and head over to the turbo. So that's the next step here. There's the oil filter housing. Masimoto is going to go down on there. You're going to want to put lubricant on your gasket, your little seal here. You just put some old oil on it, and then that is going to go down in there, and then this guy screws in onto the old oil filter mounting spot. So like that. This is just a test fit right now, and obviously going to tighten Center bolt down is going to hold the sandwich in place, and then ultimately this line that you see here, that's the oil feed line. And so you can see here with the oil filter on, and there's the tap into the Masimoto for the oil feed, which runs behind the engine, and here to the turbo. Do have a 90-degree bend coming for that, because that's obviously not cool. That's how they delivered this with the turbo kit, which is some bullshit, because that's not going to work for anybody. I mean, I could clock it a little bit to the side, but they make a 90, so why would I bother doing that? Anyway, pretty quick and easy on that. That took about 20 minutes. Next step here, we're going to take the I think this was a 4-inch to 2.5 hose. The details of this are in the video part 1, linked in the description, of course. But this is going on here, onto the throttle body, and then piping over this way to the intercooler. Just gonna get this strapped down now. We've got the attachment to the throttle body here, and I've got the blow off valve portion of intercooler piping installed. As you can see in previous videos, the rest of my piping is going to come up through down here. There's a little spot. So pipe's going to come up from the intercooler there, connect to here, and then obviously down here we're going to have I got a 90 here that's going to go off of this and connect to intercooler piping, which goes down here. The next steps here is to take the bumper off and finish running the intercooler pipe to the turbo and get the blow off valve fitted. After that, it's drain the oil, prime the turbo, and actually start it. So I'm gonna get going, taking this bumper off and getting this intercooler pipe dialed. So I don't know if I covered this in part 2, which was the intercooler install, but the bumper comes off really easy, the bumper skin. It has 4 12mm bolts going in here and here, 2 on each side, 2 here, 2 here, and then on each corner there's a 10, and then in the center there's a 10. Oh, dang. Forgot a crucial step. So you got to take the license plate cover off and then disconnect the temperature sensor. So I got to do that real quick. All right, so I got the cover off, snaked the temperature sensor out, and now I can remove the bumper skin. Make sure you have a nice safe spot for your bumper so it doesn't get destroyed. So now I've got kind of all the piping coming around, coming up from the intercooler down here. Went with the black hose and clamps. Obviously, flashy stuff is dumb. Mostly blacked out in here as well. Gonna do a little cut over here, and gotta do a little cut adapt over here. Actually going to put this kink right in about there, kinker, because this this hose coming up wants to go this way a little bit, and obviously this one coming off the turbo wants to go straight. Getting closer. Got to do a little quick cut on this to get this kinky bend here. Safety first, usually. So this kinky cut turned out just about how I wanted it. Nice and clean there. And now I just got to make a little mod on this, the blow-off valve pipe here. Blow-off valve pipe here to the intercooler pipe, 90-degree hose. I'm gonna trim it right there. So there we go with the blow-off valve connection. That went together pretty nice. It's a little squeezed on there, but it's on there, and that's what matters. And I still got clearance over here, so I can check my power steering fluid, because there's nothing more shiesty than having to pull off your intercooler piping to touch any part of the whatever's fluids, things. You know what I'm talking about. Basically just goes till it blows. Pops right off just where you need it. All right, so we got oil in the engine. The intercooler piping is all plumbed, turbo to the throttle body inlet. The blow-off valve is on. All my hose clamps are tight. And the most important thing here before we actually start this engine is to get oil into the turbo, because when your turbo starts, if you don't have oil coming from your feed line and you don't have oil in your turbo, and this thing kicks off a few thousand RPMs right off the bat, it's going to be bad news, especially with a journal bearing max speeding turbo. So you get yourself, Walgreens baby syringe, turbo specific, and then you want to just fire in some oil in here while spinning the propeller. And that's just going to get a little looby dooby on there, get it nice and wet. You always want to get it wet before you run hard. Going for 2 squirts just for safety. 2 squirts always better than 1. It's the finger motion that does the trick.
Dual action.
Yeah, dual action. Squirt and spin with your finger. Okay, good. I'm feeling happy.
Prepped and primed.
End of clip. End of scene.
Cut.
Second most important thing, we're gonna prime the oil feed line for the turbo. So we disconnect the plug wires ignition so that we're not gonna have the engine start. And we're gonna turn the engine over to drive the oil out through the line. My son's in there, he's gonna turn the key. Ethan, go ahead and turn it over. There you go. Now keep going, Ethan. Keep going. Oh, you got to turn it all the way off and then all the way back on again. So we got some chocolate coming out. This oil wasn't changed for a while. So this is the old nasty chocolate. We're going to wait until we see something not nasty coming through, because I don't want to pour chocolate into my new turbo. I don't care if it's a max speeding turbo. Right, so we primed the oil until some nice clean oil came through. And so now that is all primed, which is what we're looking for. Now I can attach the fitting. Attach the feed line to the fitting, and guess what we're gonna do next? We're gonna start this thing.
Yee!
Okay. Okay, give him the keys.
How much gas you want?
I don't think you need to give it any gas to start with.
Just take an easy way.
You just, yeah, I think you just turn the key and see what it does, right? All right, so this is the moment of truth. Everything's ready to go. Blake's in the car. Alex is over here. You can't see him. And now we're going to start this thing for the first time. All right, Blake, give it a turn. Yeah. Hell yeah. What's that?
Might just need to warm up a little.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's running fine.
Is that enough oil in there, considering what you pumped in a new filter?
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
There's nothing on there. Do something.
Yeah, cut it. All right, so in the excitement, we forgot to tighten down the downpipe. That's fine.
I heard something wrong.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Nothing matters.
Nothing really matters.
I'm honestly impressed at the start of it.
Dude, that's pretty sick. Okay.
So let's go inside and party.
So should we
No,
fucking tighten that bolt down?
Alrighty.
Startup number 2, hit it. See how she goes.
That's 4.
Okay.
It barely even, so it's a little bit of burn. Let's see where that is.
I mean, new shit's gonna smoke.
Oh, it's gonna smoke. That's and seal and shit all over it. But dude, no joke.
And
The whole time revving that thing,
Yeah.
it felt smooth as shit. That is awesome.
Right, just revved right
I'm so impressed by this thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to let it sit for a second and I guess check the oil level.
Yeah.
And
What
then,
is it? Like you want to let it sit for a few minutes so it can settle, right?
yeah,
Like 5, 10
yeah,
minutes.
5 minutes, just.
Wait, so why is it smoking?
It's coming off. It's just some sealant shit.
could be burnt. I mean,
So there you go, friends. It came together. Easy, I would say. Took a lot of research. As you saw, it started right up. We're probably going to drive it around the block just to see what's going on with it. But this is the end of episode 3. If you want to see all the parts that I bought, episode 1, linked here in the description. You want to see how the intercooler got there and how the bumper situation came together, that's video 2 in the description. And video 4 is we're going to show you how the exhaust was made, the downpipe, how that all comes together. So thanks again for checking in. As always, be kind to your friends, love the ones you're with. Maybe subscribe to my channel, drop a like on it if you even care or whatever, and we'll catch you in the next episode.